Come on, he whispered. Where are you? It had been a risk contacting Titus Caesar, but he had no one else to turn to. Mercedes did not believe in the Laetitio Divinatus, and in truth, he wasn't sure he did yet. But he knew that whatever or whoever had sent him the vision of Euphrates Keeler had meant him to act upon it. Likewise, Garviel Loken was out of the question, for it was certain that his movements would not escape notice. "Iterator," hissed a voice from beside him, and Cinderman almost cried aloud in surprise. Titus Caesar stood beside him, an earnest expression creasing his slender face. Another man stood behind him, similarly uniformed in the dark blue of a Titan crewman. "Titus," breathed Cinderman in relief. "I wasn't sure you'd be able to come." "We won't have long before Princeps Tournay notice we're not at our posts. But your communication said the Saint was in danger." "She is," confirmed Cinderman. "Grave danger." "How do you know?" asked the second man. Caesar's brow twisted in annoyance. "I'm sorry, Kirill. This is Jonah Arukan, my fellow moderati on the DSE ray. He's one of us." I just know," said Cinderman. I saw, I don't know, a vision of her lying on her bed, and I knew someone intended her harm." "A vision," breathed Caesar. "Truly you are one of the chosen of the Emperor." No, hissed Cinderman. I'm really not. Now, come on. We don't have time for this. We have to go now." "Where?" asked Jonah Arukan. "The Medicaid deck," said Cinderman, holding up his chit. "We have to get to the Medicaid deck." The surface of the shimmering globe above Horus resolved into continents and oceans, overlaid with the traceries of geophysical features, plains, forests, seas, mountain ranges, and cities. Horus held up his arms, as if supporting the globe from below like some titan from the ancient myths of old Earth. "This is Istvan III," he repeated. "A world brought into compliance 13 years ago by the 27th Expeditionary Force of our brother Korax." "And he wasn't up to the job," snorted Angron. Horus shot Angron a dangerous look. "There was some resistance, yes. But the last elements of the aggressive faction were destroyed by the Raven Guard at the Ridarth Valley." The battle site flared red on the globe, nestled amongst a mountain range on one of Istvan III's northern continents. "The Remembrancer Order was not yet foisted upon us by the Council of Terror, but a substantial civilian contingent was left behind to begin integration with the Imperial Truth." "Are we to assume that the Truth didn't take?" asked Eidolon. "Mortarion?" prompted Horus, gesturing to his brother Primarch. 4 months ago, the Death Guard received a distress signal from Istvan III, said Mortarion. It was weak and old.
We only received it because one of our supply ships joining the fleet at the Actoran dropped out of warp for repairs. Given the age of the signal and the time it took for it to be relayed to my command, it is likely that it was sent at least 2 years ago.
What did it say?
asked Angron. In reply, the holographic image of the globe unfolded into a large, flat pane, like a pict screen hovering in the air, black, with just a hint of shadowy movement. A shape moved on the screen, and Loken realized it was a face. A woman's face, orange lit by candle flame that provided the only light. She appeared to be in a small, stone-walled chamber. Even over the poor quality of the signal, Loken could tell that the woman was terrified. Her eyes wide, her breathing rapid and shallow. She gleamed with sweat.
The insignia on her collar,
said Targadin.
It's from the 27th expedition.
The woman adjusted the device she was using to record the image, and sound flooded into the Lupercal's court, crackling flames, distant yelling, and gunfire.
It's revolution,
said the woman, her voice warped by static.
Open revolt. These people, they've rejected it all. We tried to integrate them. We thought the war singers were just some primitive superstition, but it was much more. It was real. Praal's gone mad, and the war singers are with him.
The woman suddenly looked around at something off screen.
No!
She screamed desperately and opened fire with a weapon previously held out of view. Violent muzzle flashes lit her, and something indescribable flailed against the far wall as she emptied her weapon into it.
They're closer! They know we're here, and I think I'm the last one.
The woman turned back to the screen.
It's madness! It's complete madness down here. Please! I don't think I'm going to get through this. Send someone, anyone, just make this stop!
A hideous, atonal, keening sound blared from the pict screen. The woman grabbed her head, her screams drowned by the inhuman sound. The last frames jerked and fragmented, freeze-framing through a series of gruesome images. Blood in the woman's frenzied eye, a swirling mass of flesh and shattered stone, and a mouth locked open, blood on teeth. Then blackness.
There have been no further communications from Isvan 3,
concluded Mortarion, filling the silence that followed.
The planet's astropaths have been either compromised or they are dead.
The name Praal refers to Varda's Praal,
said Horus.
The governor left behind to command Istvan III in the name of the Imperium, ensure compliance and manage the dismantling of the traditional religious structures that defined this planet's autochthonous society. If he is complicit in the rebellion on Istvan III, as this recording suggests, then he is one of our objectives.
Loken felt a shiver travel down his spine at the thought of once again facing a population whose imperial official had turned traitor. He glanced over at Targadin and saw that the similarities with the Davin campaign were not lost on his comrade. The holo swelled and returned to the image of Istvan III.
The cultural and religious capital of Istvan is here,
said Horus, as the image zoomed in on one of the northern cities, which commanded a large hinterland at the foot of a colossal range of mountains.
The Coral City. This is the source of the distress signal and the seat of Praal's command. A building known as the Precentor's Palace. Multiple spear tips will seize a number of strategic objectives. And with the city in our hands, Istvan will be ours. The first assault will be a combined force made of Astartes from all legions, with backup from the Titans of the Mechanicum and the Imperial Army. The rest of the planet will then be subjugated by whichever Imperial Army reinforcement can reach us with a warp in its current state.
Why not just bombard them? Asked Eidolon. The sudden silence that followed his question was deafening. Loken waited for the War Master to reprimand Eidolon for daring to question one of his decisions, but Horus only nodded indulgently.
Because these people are vermin. And when you stamp out vermin from afar, some invariably survive. If we are to cut out the problem, we must get our hands dirty and destroy them in one fell swoop. It may not be as elegant as the Emperor's children would wish, but elegance is not a priority for me. Only swift victory.
Of course, said Eidolon, shaking his head. To think that these fools should be so blind to the realities of the galaxy.
Have no fear, Commander,
said Abaddon, descending to stand beside the War Master.
They will be illuminated as to the error of their ways.
Loken risked a sidelong glance at the first captain, surprised at the respect he heard in his voice. All the previous dealings between the sons of Horus and Eidolon had led him to believe that Abaddon held the arrogant Lord Commander in contempt. What had changed?
Mortarion,
continued Horus.
Your objective will be to engage the main force of the Coral City's army. If they are anything like they were when the Raven Guard fought them, they will be professional soldiers and will not break easily, even when confronted with Astartes.
The Hollow zoomed in to show a map of the Coral City. A handsome conurbation with many and varied buildings that ranged from exquisite mansions and basilica to massive sprawls of housing and tangles of industrial complexes. Artfully formed boulevards and thoroughfares threaded a multi-leveled city of millions, most of whom appeared to be housed in sprawling residential districts, workshops, and factories. The western edge of the city was highlighted, focusing on the scar-like web of defensive trenches and bunkers along the city's outskirts. The opposite side of the Coral City butted up against the sheer cliffs of a mountain range, the natural defenses efficiently shielding the city from a conventional land attack. Unfortunately for the Coral City, the War Master clearly wasn't planning a conventional land attack.
It appears that a sizable armed force is manning these defenses,
said Horus.
It looks as if they have excellent fortifications and artillery. Many of these defenses were added after compliance to protect the seat of Imperial governance on Istvan, which means they're ours, and they will be strong. It will be ugly work engaging and destroying this force. And there is still much about the Coral City's military we do not know.
I welcome this challenge, War Master,
said Mortarion.
This is my legion's natural battlefield.
Another location lurched into focus. A spectacular conglomeration of arches and spires, with dozens of labyrinth-like wings and additions surrounding a magnificent central dome faced in polished stone. The city's crowning glory. The structure looked like a jeweled brooch set into the twisted mass of the coral city. "The Precentor's palace," said Eidolon appreciatively.
"And your legion will take it,"
said Horus.
"along with the World Eaters."
Again, Loken caught Eidolon's glance at Angron, the Lord Commander unable to conceal the distaste he felt at the thought of fighting alongside such a barbaric legion. If Angron was aware of Eidolon's scornful glance, he gave no sign of it.
"The palace is one of Praal's most likely locations,"
said Horus.
"Therefore, the palace is one of our most important objectives. The palace must be taken, and the Coral City's leadership destroyed, and Praal killed. He is a traitor, so I do not expect or wish for him to be taken alive."
Finally, the Hollow zoomed in on a curious mass of stonework some way east of the Precentor's palace. To Loken's untutored eye, it looked like a collection of church spires or temples, sacred buildings heaped on top of one another over the centuries.
"This is the Siren Hold, and my Sons of Horus will lead the attack on this,"
said Horus.
"Coral City's revolt appears to be religious in nature, and the Siren Hold was the spiritual heart of the city. According to Korax's reports, this was the seat of the old pagan religion that was supposed to have been dismantled. It is presumed that it still exists, and that the leadership of the religion will be found here. This is another likely location for Vardis Praal. So again, I do not require prisoners, only destruction."
For the first time, Loken saw the battlefield he would soon be fighting on. The Siren Hold looked like difficult ground to take. Massive, complicated structures creating a confusing multi-leveled warren with plenty of places to hide. Dangerous ground. That was why the War Master had sent his own legion to take it. He knew they could do it. The Hollow zoomed out again to a view of the planet itself.
"Preliminary operations will involve the destruction of the monitoring stations on the 7th planet of Istvan Extremis," said Horus. "When the rebels are blind, the invasion of Istvan III will commence. The units chosen to lead the first wave will deploy by drop pod and gunship, with a second wave ready in reserve. I trust you all understand what is required of your legions."
I only have one question, War Master,
said Angron.
"Speak,"
said Horus.
Why do we plan this attack with such precision when a single massive strike will do the job just as well?
"You object to my plans, Angron?"
Horus asked carefully.
Of course I object.
Spat Angron.
We have 4 legions, titans and starships at our disposal, and this is just one city. We should hit it with everything we have and slaughter them in the streets. Then we will see how many on this planet have the stomach to rebel. But no, you would have them kill them one by one and pick off their leaders as if we are here to preserve this world. Rebellion is in the people, Horus. Kill the people, and the rebellion ends.
Lord Angron, said Eidolon reasonably, You speak out of turn,
Hold your tongue in presence of your betters.
snarled Angron.
I know what you Emperor's children think of us, but you'll mistake our directness for stupidity. Speak to me again without my consent and I will kill you.
Angron!
Horus's voice cut through the building tension, and the Primarch of the World Eaters turned his murderous attention away from Eidolon.
You place little value on the lives of your World Eaters,
said Horus.
and you believe in the way of war you have made your own. But that does not place you beyond my authority. I am the War Master, the commander of everyone and everything that falls under the aegis of the Great Crusade. Your legion will deploy according to the orders I have given you. Is that clear?
Angron nodded curtly as Horus turned to Eidolon.
Lord Commander Eidolon, you are not among equals here, and your presence in this war council is dependent upon my good graces, which will be rapidly worn thin should you conduct yourself as if Fulgrim was here to nursemaid you.
Eidolon rapidly recovered his composure. Of course, my War Master. I meant no disrespect. I shall ensure that my legion is prepared for the assault on Istvan Extremis and the capture of the Precentor's palace. Horus switched his gaze to Angron, who grunted in assent.
The World Eaters will be ready, War Master,
said Khan.
Then this conclave is at an end,
said Horus.
Return to your legions and make ready for war.
The delegations filed out, Khan speaking quietly with Angron and Eidolon adopting a swagger as if to compensate for his dressing down. Loken thought he saw a gleam of amusement in Mortarian's eyes as he left with Garrow and his Terminators in tow. Horus turned to Abaddon and said,
Have a storm bird prepared to convey me to the Conqueror. Angron must be illuminated as to the proper conduct of this endeavor.
Horus turned and made his way from the Lupercal's court with Abaddon and Axaman following behind him without so much as a backwards glance at Loken and Torgadon.
Well, that was educational,
said Torgadon when they were alone. Loken smiled wearily.
I could feel you willing Angron to strike Eidolon.
Torgadon laughed, remembering when he and Eidolon had almost come to blows when they had first met on the surface of murder.
If only we could join the War Master on the Conqueror, said Torgadon. Now, that would be something worth seeing. Horus illuminating Angron. What would they talk about?
What indeed,
agreed Loken. There was so much Loken didn't know, but as he pondered his unhappy ignorance, he remembered the last thing Kirill Sinderman had shouted to him as he was led away by Malagurst's soldiers.
Tariq, we have a battle to prepare for, so I want you to get everyone ready. It's going to be an hard fight on this Van 3.
I know, said Torgadon. Sirenhold, what a bloody shambles. It's what happens when you give people a god to believe in.
Get Vipus up to speed as well. If we're attacking the Sirenhold, I want Lacaster with us.
Of course, noted Torgadon.
Sometimes, I think you and Nero are the only people I can trust anymore. What are you gonna be doing?
I have some reading to catch up on,
said Loken.
Oh shit.
Right, that's the end of chapter 4. So I'm just going to go for a quick wee break, but we're going to let's have a little chat about what the fuck's going on, because it's all going mental. It's all going mental, so I'm going to go for a quick wee break, and then we'll have a little chat about what's just happened. Yeah, I am back. I have returned. All right. Hey, nurse, how you doing? You all right? Hey, Daryl Boyce, how you doing, mate? Daryl on YouTube, how you doing, bruv? It says, love that you're reading through the Horus Heresy. I just got into 40k. Sick. Currently reading through the Fall of Cadia. That's amazing. You'll love that. It's fucking sick. It's all sick. There's just so much of it, though. You know what I mean? You'll be reading it forever. Right, so. Oh, hang on. What was going on? What's Cecil and Eggy saying? Was something happening to the stream? Something wrong with it? Hey? Is everything normal yet, or what? Don't know really what's going on, to be honest. I've been lagging like mad. Is anybody else having problems with the stream? Because I've got it on. I can see what I've got, like my stream manager open on Twitch, and it seems okay. Just wondering whether it's on my end or anything, because everything seems fine on my end. So yeah, it's saying that my stream quality is excellent. So on Twitch, seems we've got better now. It died for a couple of seconds, and then there was loads of buffering. Oh right. Maybe my internet just went down for a couple of seconds or something. Like actually died. Add the picture of the guy holding his head. Ah, right, okay. So what that is that's stream connect protection. I've flicked that on. So basically, remember like ages ago when like randomly the stream would just end. And then everybody, like, the stream would be over, and then I'd have to start a new stream and shit. What that does is that stops that from happening. So it keeps it open, keeps the stream open, and then it'll bring it back on. So what that could have been is it could have been a problem with Twitch, or it could have been a problem on my end, or maybe my internet dipped out for like a second or so. That's basically what it is. Snow, how much are we reading tonight? I'm going to read another chapter. I'm going to do 2 chapters every week. I can't really do any more than 2 chapters tonight anyway, because my voice is a bit shot. And it's crazy hot in here, so. Especially with all these fucking Primarchs turning up. I had to make up new voices for fucking Angron and fucking Mortarion. So that was that chapter had a lot of dialogue in. A lot of dialogue. But certain things we're now aware of. So we know that Magad is being sent to kill Euphrates. We also know that Magad has been receiving some strange physical upgrades to his body. Like he's got much bigger. And he has new organs, it said. So they've been upgrading Magad. We had... What else did we get? Oh, we know that Titus, Jonah, and Cinderman are desperately trying to get to Euphrates before Magad. They don't know that it's Magad that's going to kill her, but they know that she's in danger. Snow, we did finally get a mention of Corvus Corax. He is amazing. He's Batman, isn't he? Basically. Owen, bro, they're turning him into a Frankenastartes Well, I don't actually know what they're doing to him. It's Summit though. He's getting bigger and he's getting extra organs. So that's not good. So, but what we also learned from him, from his inner monologues and his thoughts, he is being used as an assassin. He's being used to take out. He's being used to take out targets that the Astartes, the Space Marines, can't be seen to take out. So they're using him as a fucking, as an assassin.
And then we've basically been given an insight into Horus's battle plan.
The plan that we know is a trap. And Torgadon and Loken are literally like basically being ignored by Horus and the fucking Mournival. Because they all left and just left them there. So
it's not looking great, is it? We know it's a trap, but we don't know what type of trap it is.
As far as Loken and Torgadon know, they're going to take out another world that's rebelled, basically. Two for two. This is the second time they've been sent to a world that's apparently rebelling. You know what I mean? So, right, let's crack it. Shall we crack on? Shall we crack on? Find out what the fuck's going on. Alright, let's get this music back on. Right, here we go. Chapter 4. Ooh. Chapter 4. Sacrifice. A single moment. Keep her safe. Wherever Erebus walked, shadows followed in his wake. Flickering whispers were his constant companions, invisible creatures that lurked just beyond sight and ghosted in his shadow. The whisperers flitted from Erebus and gathered in the shadowed corners of the chamber. A stone-walled lodge built in the image of the temple room of the Delphos. Deep in the heart of the vengeful spirit, the lodge temple was low, close and hot, lit by a crackling fire that burned in a pit in the middle of the room. Flames threw leaping shapes across the walls. "My War Master," said Erebus. "We are prepared."
Good, replied the War Master. It has cost us a great deal to reach this point, Erebus. For all our sakes, it had better be worth it. But mostly for yours.
"It will be, War Master," assured Erebus, paying no heed to the threat. "Our allies are keen to finally speak to you directly." Erebus stooped to stare into the fire, the flames reflecting from his shaven, tattooed head, and in his armor, recently painted in the deep scarlet colors now adopted by the Wordbearer's Legion. As confident as he sounded, he allowed himself a moment of pause. Dealing with creatures from the warp was never straightforward, and should he fail to meet the War Master's expectations, then his life would be forfeit. The War Master's presence filled the lodge. Armored as he was in a magnificent suit of obsidian Terminator armor gifted to him by the Fabricator General himself. Sent from Mars to cement the alliance between Horus and the Mechanicum of Mars, the armor echoed the colors of the elite Justarian, but it far